テレ東BIZ
Japanese garden lantern, and it started because in 1974, President Ford came to visit, and this was given. So beyond that, I did this for Joe Biden. So he's the only president with multiple. And this tree was given by Joan Mondale and the Vice President Walter Mondale when they were ambassadors for for Bill Clinton. They don't say that it's Bill Clinton, but it's his visit in June.
東京赤坂のアメリカ大使公邸の庭を案内するエマニュエル駐日大使。大使として着任してから半年以上、多くの外交課題が山積する中、今後の舵取りを聞きました。
着任されてから半年が経ちましたけれども、いろいろなことがありました。どんな半年でしたか？
Well, it's been wonderful. I love the country of Japan. Most importantly, I love the people. I think it's an incredible quality of life, and the work is fascinating. There's never a dull moment. I mean, on any given day, you're doing from national security to economic investments to kind of cultural exchange and interaction with people. I will say that one of the more pleasant surprises, when I first came here, the security said I couldn't take a train. I said, look, man, I've been taking a train my whole life. As mayor, I took a train twice a week to work. And I'm a little, I will say, pleasantly surprised how much it's captured the imagination of the Japanese people. But that's the fun part.
その中でも大使は多くのビジネスパーソンとお会いしていますけれども、そこには何か狙いがあるんでしょうか？
Well, for the last 2 years, the United States was the number one investor in Japan. And Japan was the number one investor for those 2 years in the United States, replacing Great Britain. And I consider commercial diplomacy as a key part of building the solidity of the alliance and making it stronger for the future. I was mayor of the city of Chicago. For 7 consecutive years, it was the number one city in America for corporate relocations. So this comes kind of like as a natural kind of outgrowth of that. And I meet with them because not only am I encouraging investments in America, and we'll see more of that, and also investments by the United States into Japan. We've done, so it's both sides. Learning from them what's going on. International economics is a subject I've been interested in going back to my days working for President Clinton, Congress for President Obama, but also if you're building a global city as mayor. I think it's an important topic, and doing it right is important.
ただ、大使の明るい表情とは裏腹に、今日本とアメリカが直面するのは厳しい外交課題ばかりです。8月上旬、アメリカのペロシ下院議長が現職の下院議長として25年ぶりに台湾を訪問。中国はその対抗措置として台湾を取り囲むように軍事演習を行い、日本の EEZ 排他的経済水域内にもミサイルが着弾しました。
ペロシ下院議長が台湾を訪問しましたけれども、今回のこの行動というのはどういうふうに評価されているんでしょうか？
This was an unwarranted reaction by China, and an overreaction, and it was irresponsible, in my view. And what they're trying to do is change the norm, change the dynamics that has been existing in the Taiwan Strait, and they're using the speaker's visit to do that. What's important is how, which has also been true in Ukraine, how the world speaks with one voice, that you can't unilaterally change what has been true for the last 60 years. And the fact is, the United States, our friends and our allies, both in the region and outside the region, are going to continue to operate through the straits like we did in the past, that these are international waters.
今後中国が台湾に軍事的に侵攻するリスクについては。
First of all, you're right to look at the military, but I don't think you should. I think one of the, if I may, you have to look at and analyze the entire 180 degrees. I think that China now realizes anything that they did militarily on Taiwan would have a direct economic impact on them. That the world, that on the political level, that's on the economic. This is not a cost-free decision. On the political level, there's also the consequences of isolation, and that their attempt to both either militarily or economically coerce Taiwan is bringing a unified response. He looks at, President Xi looks at President Putin, sees how isolated he is, that the only friends he has are people like North Korea, Syria. These are not exactly governments that are high in standing or respected, and understands that the unified voice of both the EU, United States, Canada, Australia, Japan, South Korea, would be reacting in a unified way. China, President Xi, also saw that, for the first time in 5 years, the United States, Japan, and South Korea just concluded missile exercises. So this is not a cost-free decision. And the challenge for us is we have to not say it once, but repeat it regularly.
中国が台湾に侵攻することはではないというふうに考えればいいですか？
I didn't say that. I didn't. I just told you I thought the one thing I know about being in government is you have to evaluate equities off each other. But there's no doubt that any decision you make either way is not a cost-free decision. China's housing market has a major crisis, and it's not just a housing crisis. You have people refusing to pay their mortgages. The president has slammed down on the technology sector. They're laying people off. Alibaba just had their first major loss, Tencent rather. Third, the unemployment level among youth in China is 19%, which when you have a one-child policy means 19% of your mothers are really angry. And you're the first leader with no economic growth. Do you want to make a decision that is not economically cost-free? And so I would just say to you, having been in 2 Oval offices, my own job as a mayor, you have to evaluate what is bad and what is worse. And that's what's running through their mind.
ロシアによる侵攻が始まってから半年以上が経ったウクライナでの戦争。日米はヨーロッパなどとともにロシアに対して経済制裁を科してきましたが、いまだ戦争の収束は見えません。
ロシアがウクライナに侵攻してから半年経ちますけれども、その制裁などは効いていると思われますか？
Well, yes, but that's only one aspect of the operation. Putin has become a pariah, and while he's too arrogant publicly, in the back of his head, he knows he's made a mistake. And you cannot succeed, and it's 6 months. It's a damning condemnation of 6 months, both to the strategic decision, the military decision, and the long-term economic. And his own people, as recently as 2 weeks ago, publicly acknowledged that the economy has been sent back 15 years.
一方、ロシアの石油・天然ガス開発プロジェクトサハリン2の権益の維持を目指す日本。ロシアからエネルギーの輸入を継続することについてはどう見るのでしょうか。
I think the way you should look at this is the same way that Germany and others, which is an acknowledgement that Russia is an unreliable provider of energy. So when I look at the LNG from Russia, I wouldn't want to go. If I slept at night knowing that part of my energy portfolio came from Russia, I would sleep with one eye open. And so I'd look at all the other portfolios. The Prime Minister's taken a tremendous amount of leadership, both on the climate, which Prime Minister Suga did before, following through on it, and being honest and forthright with the public about the role of nuclear in a safe way, and then doing the other types of diversification on more reliable LNG, development of the renewables.
外交課題が山積する中、日本とアメリカの同盟は重要な時期を迎えていると強調します。
This is my kind of architecture,
Oh.
which is what we do in the next 3 years together will determine the alliance for the next 30 years. I think we have a unique moment in time. The Prime Minister doesn't face an election. My president has shown, or our president has shown, a unique courage to make the tough decisions. We have, for the first time in the history of our two countries, where our politics, our policy, and our vision are closely aligned. And I want to maximize that so that when I do leave and I hand off the baton, that I have done something that has made a difference. And I'll give you a classic example. The president was here. He announced some goals and aspirations on space. Mm-hmm. I can tell you in the next 2 to 3 months, you will see the conclusions of major agreements between the United States and Japan on the lunar exploration and other aspects of our relationship that will be taking just the area of space and all the promise. And if we can make, through our economic strategy, our economic investments, and the policies we adopt in the relationships, where more and more Americans and Japanese feel like they got a stake in the future, to the rest of the world, when the United States and Japan are aligned, watch out.
最後までご覧いただきましてありがとうございます。テレビ東京の経済ニュース、経済番組をもっと見たいという方は、こちらの画像をクリックして動画配信サービステレ東BIZにアクセスしてください。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。